Good day and welcome to this special delivery on working with Qlik Sense. Today we have a nice masterclass for you on how to create an interactive dashboard in Qlik Sense in less than 8 minutes. I'll take a bet that there are no tutorials where you'll learn as much in such a short space of time. So do stay tuned, especially towards the end. We do have a gift for you. Also, if you want to follow along, do register on the link provided. This way we can send you the data, and this is where we'll also send you your free gift, which we'll announce a little bit later. So let's get right at it. Today we're working with a very simple file. The file is just called the bank customers, and it's a fictitious bank. Don't worry about that. It's a CSV file, which I'll open up in Excel over here so we can have a proper look what it looks like. So as you can see, just a list of customers, just over 4,000 of them, with their name, their surname, and ID, what gender they are, their age, country they're from, job classification, date joined, and balance. We will focus on balance, job classification, country, as well as age and gender too. In order to proceed, we will need to open up a new Qlik Sense app, which we will simply call our customer segmentation dashboard, because that's what we'll be creating today. All right, so once it is open, we can simply use the data manager to import the data, and we'll just take bank customers and drag it on top of Qlik Sense. This way, the data manager analyzes the data and assigns it properly, all the fields, and makes sure everything is correct with all the correct options at the top there. So I'll click add the data. The data is successfully imported, and I will just go to our analysis tab into edit mode. How quick was that to connect to our data and be able to work with it? All right, here are all of our fields. And I think the best thing to start off with is to build a map. So in that case, I'll just take country and drag that into our dashboard or into our sheet over here. And I'll just make this a little bit smaller. And you can see immediately that Qlik Sense has seen or has assigned the correct countries correctly and has drawn the map out properly. Now it has done this with the chart suggestions, and as we are happy with the chart, I will just untick the chart suggestion so we can actually continue and customize the map further. To do that, firstly we have to go into layers. It has assigned an area layer, and in there we need to assign a color because we want to show how many customers in each of these countries. So we will, by the colors option, select by measure, and the measure we'll select would be a count of our customer ID. But seeing as we are going to be reusing this a number of times, I'm not going to create it as a measure here. We will go to our master items, go to the measures, and create a new master measure. This way we can reuse it every time for our different sheets or different charts. All right, so in the expression, I'll just go into the expression editor and say we want to count the actual number of customer IDs. And let's make sure it's validated properly, there are no problems with it, and hit apply. And we can just call this our number of customers like that. So now you'll see it pops up into our drop down over here of measures, and we don't have to retype it every single time. And look how easy that was. We can see most of our customers are from the UK. Now there's a few things I want to correct. So opacity I want to make a little bit lighter so we can see the actual background of the map, as well as if I go into options, I just actually want to go out of the layer and go to appearance. Under legend, I just want to make sure that we don't show the legend. It's not necessary in this case. And look at that, our first chart is ready. We just need to give it a proper name, and we'll call this our geographical, let me just spell it correctly, our geographical spread. And while we're assigning titles, let's also give a title to our sheet, and we'll call this our customer segmentation dashboard. Okay, cool. Now we can continue with the next. All right, so what are we interested as well? So now we know where our customers are. Let's look at their balance as well as their age. So we have their specific balance and age, but what would work better in this case is to have them in buckets. So how do we add buckets? Well, it's very simple. We go to our data sheet or our data option over there, double click on our data table where we can see all of our fields. And by simply clicking on the age column, we'll do age first. By clicking on the age, gives us a distribution of the age, as you can see here, where the most are, our maximum and minimum age, the median, the average, and so forth. But it also gives you an option here to create buckets quite automatically or quite easily. And you'll see that it suggests 10 buckets. So between the ages of 0 and 20, that'll be the first bucket, next bucket 20, 25, and so forth. So I'll keep with this 10 buckets. I think that gives us a nice distribution. And what I want to show you as well is that we can change these labels. So by clicking on the first bucket, we can call this under 20. All right. And by selecting the last one, we can call this over 60. And of course, you can change these as well individually. I'm not going to do all of them, but you have to do that before you click create buckets. And do keep an eye on the fields over here, because as soon as I click create buckets, it adds another bucket on there. And you'll see the ones where we actually had text ourselves. There was one over 60, for instance. It adds the text and not the original signed age bucket. Okay, and we do the same for balance. Here we simply just go bucket again. I do want to increase this to 15 buckets just to get a bigger spread, or to at least see differences in the balance. And here you can once again rename them if you want. I'm not going to do that right now. I'll just click create buckets, and it added the next bucket. So to interpret this, this is the lower bound of the bucket, and that's the upper bound of the bucket, not including the last value. We need to hit load data to make sure these are available in our visualization. To be used in our visualization, I should draw the same. And to include them into our dashboard, I think a bar chart would work well. So we'll be going to our charts, we simply add a bar chart. You can make this a little bit bigger. So let's start off with balance first. So as a dimension, I will use the bucketed balance. And a measure, that master measure we created earlier, would be our number of customers. And look at that spread, that is pretty cool. We of course just need to customize this or make this a little bit nicer. And first of all, we can call this our balance distribution, as well as a few other things. So firstly, if we go into appearance, we can change the color to distinguish it from age, because age will have blue. For balance, we can simply use green, because green is the color of money, as you always hear me say. And then under the x-axis, I want to actually remove those labels. We'll keep the title, so we can just select title only, and the labels disappear. We don't need to see them, and they will pop up in any case into a message if once we are out of the edit view. So that's our balance distribution. We can do exactly the same for age. So we'll select the age bucket, and we'll select the number of customers. And there you are. As you can see, the text comes through nicely. We only need to add a title over here, and we will simply call this our age distribution. Right, yeah, how's that going for time? Pretty awesome if you ask me. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at gender as well. So seeing as there are only 2 genders in our data at least, we will use a pie chart. So add in pie chart. Once again, this is becoming very easy now. Normally just add gender, add number of customers, and immediately assigned male. If I just go out of edit mode, you'll see male is blue and female is the other color. So a few things we can do. Once again, we can just call this our gender split. And what I also like to do is when we go into the presentation is to make this a donut chart. I prefer a donut chart above a pie chart. Nothing to do with food, of course, but I just think it looks much more intuitive, and also the labels are a bit nicer. We'll take off value labels, sorry, my bad, dimension label. That's the label at the top that is not showing right now, but it would show out of the edit view. And that is our gender split. Next, we will also, well, lastly, as we've got a little more space there, we'll use a tree map, and we can actually look at the job classification. So simply drag in tree map. Now guess what we do for dimension? Yes, you've got it right, job classification, and for measure, number of customers. And as always, I like to go and change the colors, not to have them automatic, but to have them by dimension in this case, and we can simply leave it as it is. Just don't forget that you need to add a title, and here we will call it our job classification. Classification. There we go. All right, and if I go out of edit mode, there is our awesome looking visualization or / dashboard of our customers. So look how easy it is to now generate insights. If we click on France, we can see that it has much older age distribution than we had for the overall population, and much more male customers. I'll untick that so you can see once again. The split was almost 50-50 and it had almost a normal curve over here. But for France, it's slightly different. If you look at Germany, for instance, what is interesting to see here is the balance distribution. It's much more flat, where if we had a look at the balance distribution, it was like that for the overall population. So you're ready to derive insights already from your customer segmentation over here. And this dashboard was built in less than 8 minutes. How great is that? I hope you can see how powerful Qlik Sense is. First of all, how simple, but also how powerful in that simplicity for you to use and analyze your data. So as promised earlier in the video, your free gift for this video is actually a theme. We specifically created this for you, a Qlik Sense theme from Super Data Science, where you can take your visualization from this to this. Wow, just look how amazing that takes your normal visualization or your normal dashboard and makes it so appealing that everybody wants to dive into it. And this is yours. Just do remember to register on the link we provided. You will get the data so you can follow along, and you will get the theme, and you can use this on your own work going forward as well. It's not only for this dashboard, you can use it on any dashboard that you create. Do remember we also have the 2 courses on Qlik Sense. We have the basic course where you can actually learn Qlik Sense, and then also the Mastering Qlik Sense, where we also talk about themes and further things where you can actually take your Qlik Sense knowledge to the next level. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a little bit more. Don't forget to register, get your freebie, and I will meet you again one day. And until then, happy clicking.